Trash, Chapter 4. Still Raphael. So sorry, but I want to tell Rat is a boy, 3 or 4 years younger than me. His real name is Junjun. He lived with the rats and had come to look like one. He was the only kid in Bihala that I knew of who had no family much about his past. There were plenty of boys without fathers, but if you had no parents, you had aunties or uncles, or older brothers, or cousins, and so there was always somebody who would take care of you and give you a bit of the mat to sleep on, and a plate of rice. The thing about Rat was, he had nobody, because he'd come from some place way out of the city, and if it hadn't been for the mission school, he'd have been dead. Gardo and I went back down the ladders with the candles. I'd put the bag under my t-shirt and tried to hold my arms so it wasn't too obvious, but it was as if people didn't want to see me anyway. Auntie especially was looking away and shifted so she had her back to us both. We crossed the roadway and were soon deep in amongst the trash. I better say, the trash is alive at night. That's when the rats come out strong. During the day, you don't see so many, and they stay out of your path. You get a surprise now and then when one jumps up, and sometimes you get a good kick and send one spinning. Not often, though. They're quick, and they can dive, jump, fly, and squirm their way out of anywhere. I followed Gardo, and on either side I was aware of the little gray movements. There is a light over Bihala, because some of the trucks come at night. They've rigged up big floodlights, and they're usually on. We'd gone left, right, over the little canal that just about gets through, stinking of the dead, the trash people use. No trucks, and not even many people. It was dead trash underfoot, and it was damp. You were up to your knees. Soon we came to one of the old belt machines, but this one was disused and rotting. The belt itself had been stripped out, and the wooden panels had been taken. It was just a huge metal frame rusting away. The arm that held the belt pointed up into the sky like a big finger, and now and then kids would climb it and sit in the breeze. At ground level, its legs were sunk into concrete piles, and underneath the legs was a hole. I suppose machinery must have been down there at one time, because there were steps down, and they were slimy. Trash is often wet, and the juices are always running. Maybe the ground here was a bit lower, I don't know, but it was always muddy. We stopped at the top of the steps, and I called out, "Rat!" I called quite soft. I didn't want anyone to know what we were doing or where we were. The problem was, the kid couldn't hear me if he was down there, and I was pretty sure he would be. Where else would he be? "Hey, Rat!" I called again. I could hear the little cheeps and squeaks. Gardo was following me now, because even though he's braver than me and stronger, he's not easy with rats. I'll kill one with my foot, but Gardo got bitten badly a while ago, and his whole hand went bad. He'll kill them, but he'd rather stay away from them. I was halfway down the steps, and a little one streaked up past me, and then another. "Rat!" I called, and my voice echoed in the machine chamber. I got down low with the candle, trying not to breathe too deep because of the stink, and I heard him turn in his bed. "What?" he said. He's got a high little voice. "Who is that?" "Raphael and Gardo. We got a favor to ask you. Can we come in?" "Yes." It might seem crazy asking a kid if you can come into his hole, but his hole was about the only thing Rat had, apart from what he wore. I would not have lived there. Anywhere would have been better. For a start, it was damp and dark. For another thing, I would have been scared that the trash above would fall and pile up down the stairs, trapping me, like it did on Smoky Mountain. These mountains do move. It's not us climbing about on them that makes them fall. It's usually just their own weight as the belts pile more and more stuff on. You can get caught in a fall, and it's heavy stuff. I've never known anyone killed, but one kid broke bones falling badly. When Smoky went down, there were nearly 100 killed, and everyone knows some of those poor souls are still down there, down with the trash, turned into trash, rotting with the trash. Anyway, I got to the last step, trying not to think of all that, and put my candle low. There was a sudden flicker of black, and another rat. This one, big as they come, shot past me, right over my shoulder. The kid was sitting up, just in his shorts, gazing at me with frightened eyes, and his big broken teeth sticking out of his mouth. "Raphael?" he said. "What do you want?" I thought I should have brought him a bit of food. He goes hungrier than most, and his face is pinched. Kids used to call him Monkey Boy before Rat, because his face does have that wide-eyed, staring look that little monkeys have. He was sitting on some layers of cardboard, and around him there were piles of rubbish that he must have been sorting. The walls and ceiling were damp brick, and there were cracks everywhere. That was where the rats came in and out. I guess there were nests just the other side. He had arms skinny as pencils, and Gardo's crack about breaking them had made me smile. He could break June's arms with your finger and thumb. He was a spider, not a rat. "We need your help," I said. "That's okay." "You don't know what we want," said Gardo. "How's it okay already?" "It's okay," the boy smiled, and his teeth gleamed out crookedly. He blinked. He has a twitch, and when he's scared, his whole head starts to shake. He wasn't scared right now, though. He was more interested. Also, I know he liked me. I wouldn't say he and I were friends, not at all, but I didn't mind working next to him, which meant we'd talk a bit, and I'd listen to his chit-chat singing. A lot of kids would just throw things at him and laugh. I sat down, but Gardo stayed on the step, squatting. "You gotta hide something," I said. I put the bag on the cardboard and put my candle next to it. He found another and lit it, and all three of us sat in silence. "Okay," he said. "What's in it? Who's it belong to?" He had a thin, breathy little voice like he was 6 years old. I opened the flap and unzipped it. I took out the items and laid them down. The wallet, the key, the map. "You happy to hide it? You didn't hear the police come, did you?" "I didn't see any police," said Rat, "but I can hide it if you want. See that brick? That comes right out, and the next one, too. Won't last long, though. It's gonna get eaten, okay?" "Wait," said Gardo. "I'm thinking about this. It's not the bag they want, is it? It's what's in the bag." "We've still got to hide it," I said. "Why don't we just sling it?" "If we sling it," I said, "and they find it, then they'll know someone's got what's inside, maybe, if they know what they're looking for." "Who's looking?" said Rat. "What do the police want?" I told him quickly, and his eyes widened. 10,000, Raphael, he said. "You're crazy. Give it in and get the cash." "Oh, yeah," said Gardo, sneering. "You really think they'll give it? You take it in by that? And if they do, boy, you think he'll hold on to 10,000? Rat looked from me to Gardo and back again. "Look," I said, "we've got to hide it. They come back tomorrow. They say they're going to pay everyone to work. We all get a few days' work, maybe. Give it up next week. Everyone's happy," said Rat. "That's a good idea, maybe. But you got to ask, why do they want it so bad? How much was in this?" His thin fingers opened the wallet and pulled out the ID card. 1,100, I said. He smiled right at me. "Anything for use in my house?" "I'll give you 50, I said, and he grinned even wider and touched my arm. "You promise, okay? That's a promise?" "Promise." His hands went to the map. "We ought to find out what they want," he said. "What is this? Buried treasure?" "There's nothing on it," I said. "It's just a city map." He looked harder at the ID then, staring at the photograph. "Who is this?" "Jose Angelico," I said. I knew Rat couldn't read. He turned the paper over and over, looking at the face. "Jose Angelico," he said slowly. "You think the police want him? You think he's a wanted man? He looks nice enough. Is this his little girl?" He was looking at the child, putting the faces next to each other. "Maybe," I said. "I don't know." "He's rich enough to send her to school," said Rat. "That's a school dress." "What if he's been murdered?" said Gardo. "Maybe they're looking for his body, looking for the murderers, too. This could be part of something bad." "Who lost the bag, though?" I said. "How do you lose a bag in the trash?" "Not by accident," said Rat. He was staring at the photos again. "We ought to find out who he is, okay? He might give more than the police." "And what's the key?" said Gardo, pointing to it. "That's his house key, maybe. Maybe he's locked out of his house? Let's find out where he lives." "Oh, no, that's not a house key," said Rat, staring. He hadn't noticed the key in the darkness. Now he picked it up and put it in next to my candle. He looked up at me again. "Oh, my. You don't know what that is, do you?" "Could be to a safe," I said. "What is it, a padlock key? What's the 101? "You don't know what that is?" said Rat slowly. He was teasing. "I do. I'll raise you to 100. "What?" He was smiling wider than I'd ever seen him smile, and his broken teeth stuck out like straws. "I've seen these so many times, okay? I can tell you exactly what it is and where it is. You give me that 50, now make it 100, or you get no further." "You know what it is? Really?" Rat nodded. I pulled out some notes and counted them out on the cardboard. There was a skittering of feet behind the wall, and I heard something running right around the little room surrounding us. There were squeakings again. The place was alive. Gardo and I sat on, looking at Rat, waiting for his great piece of information. "Central Station," he said softly. "I lived there nearly a year when I came in, first of all. I can tell you for sure, this is a locker key for the left luggage, just outside Platform 4, last block on the right. 101's small, up at the top, the cheapest, they do. This man's left something there." He smiled again, and we sat there, just looking at each other. Gardo whistled, and I felt my heart beat faster and faster. "You want to go there?" said Rat. We go there now if you want."